Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will talk about the limitations of infrastructure. However, before we go into today's topic, I actually wanted to give a special shout out to everybody who has been very appreciative and supportive of my channel. That actually led me to become a YouTube partner. What does YouTube partner means? It means that I'm able now to monetize, which is not something that I actually target myself or set a goal to actually start to monetize this. However, I think what we can do here is that I have already opened up the so-called membership, which means that you are able, you are free to join a member. It's 7 Singapore dollars a month. It's a recurring payment, so please take note. So what does it includes in this membership? So it's not going to be any big difference. So I think one of the things is that having that membership, you'll be able to actually kind of like support me in terms of my videos. I've been creating content. However, it's up to you guys. These are all optional. However, for partners, I really appreciate and I encourage you guys to actually join this. And the reason for this is because one of the things that we actually do differently over here is that we actually provide personalized information. Personalized information means that we deep dive into your tank and understand your water parameters, because every different breeders have different tank setup and areas and things like that. So there's a lot of difference in various breeder setup. So that's the reason why we want to have personalized information to understand what goes in your tank and for us to actually better support you guys. So feel free to join a member. If you are not ready for it, that's no problem. But if you want to give some support on the channel itself, definitely really appreciate that. So coming into today's topic regarding limitations of infrastructure, actually I wanted to use data points to actually share with you guys about why the limitations of infrastructure will impede the growth and the progress of breeders. Like for example, if you have, if we all started with maybe 3 tanks, 4 tanks, maybe up to 12 tanks, over here on the graph, you can actually see on the Excel chart, you can actually see that, if you're gonna do reset, in terms of the number of time and number of tanks you have, you can actually see that the thick soil method, the UGF box or the permanent UGF, you actually would require, if let's say you do one reset a year, you will take about 10 hours, 9 hours and 12 hours respectively. So that is if you have 12 tanks. So what happens if that let's say you are going to increase your tanks, increase the number of tanks, let's say 50 tanks. I mean, if you want to progress in a hobby, you want to have more types of streams, you want to have more experience in different type of stream, then definitely you will need more tanks, selective breeding projects and things like that. However, if you go up to 50 tanks, you can see over here, you can actually see that the number of hours actually exponentially goes up. So what does that mean? It means that there's a correlation in terms of the time taken to do X number of tanks has gone up drastically. So I'm just taking a pause here just to let you guys, sink in a little bit to look at the data. And over here, you can actually see that, that the thin soil method actually works better in the sense that you only use 8.3 hours. So 8.3, or you can just round it off 8.5 hours or 8.5 hours of time required to actually do a reset a year. However, it also depends on the number of times of reset as well. So this is up for debate and things like that. However, you can actually see that between thin soil method and thick soil method, the number of hours. So even if we double up on the thin soil method, meaning that you do 2 times 2 resets per year, you'll still gain a lot more back in hours. So and one of the reasons is because thin soil method, you siphon the soil out is fairly quick. I've shared some of the videos. I've done a demo, and you guys can actually see that. And of course, if we move on from 50 tanks to 150 tanks, if you want to go up to kind of like commercialize, so that is where commercial breeders are able to do it, because commercial breeders is their full-time job. So the time is is on their side. So that's what they do. However, if let's say we challenge the commercial breeder to get, for example, a commercial breeder to have a day job, then that's going to be difficult. If let's say the methodology of the reset type, the reset method, and things like that would kind of like impede or reduce their efficiency. So if you go up to 150 tanks, you can actually see that the hours needed for thick soil method is up to 125 hours. So that's a lot. So that's in days term is like 5 days. 5 days of doing nothing but reset. 5 days means 24 hours times 5 days. It's a lot of time for thick soil method of reset. However, when we look at this reset methodology, how we only look at the discharge of the tank. However, we have not included in this concept the inflow of the water. So a lot of us, I think a lot of breeders have been taught that you use RO water, you put in use a 1/4 inch pipe and things like that. So you use a float valve and things like that. So it kind of limits the flow rate. So over here you can actually see that in this chart, the difference between flow rate that I've been using right now versus the flow rate that I've been using in the past, like the plastic little top-up valve using gravity fed from a reservoir. So that's in essence, the time required. You can actually see over here the total time required for 150 tanks is 47.5 hours just to fill up. If let's say we say that each of the tank is 80 liters, so what does this translate to? It translates to 2 days of water flow non-stop. However, reservoir system, the challenges that we use when you are using a reservoir system is that the reservoir system is not able to fill up as quickly as what you want to, let's say, do many tanks. If let's say one of the reservoir, a 4 feet reservoir tank, is not capable to actually do up 6 80-liter tanks, because 6 80-liter tanks is 480 liters. A normal 4 foot might not be sufficient enough. So I think that's where the limitations of flow rate actually comes in. It's not just the discharge of the water during the reset, but also the inflow of the water itself. And one of the examples that I've tried before, in the past we used 1/4 inch pipe, and that will be about 4.2 liters per minute, and that amount of flow rate is not fast enough to actually help to fill the tank fast enough. So one 40-liter tank will easily take me up to 20 minutes. However, right now, a 40-liter tank would easily just take me maybe a minute. So that's the exponential gain in terms of time perspective. And if we put them together between the type of resets and the flow rate. So for example, if you have the different type of reset, the thick soil, the UGF, the permanent UGF, and the thin soil method, and we have the slow flow, the total number of hours taken, you can see that each time they reset is that it's more or less actually the same. If let's say the thin soil method, you do 2 resets and the rest you do just 1 reset, it's more or less the same, However, as you move on to high flow thin soil versus a low flow thick soil. So for example, if another breeder uses a thick soil method or a UGF box method and they use a low flow, they use 6.7 days or up to 7 days of time to do the reset. However, for thin soil fast flow method, you only use 1.3 days. So that is exponential gains in terms of the limitations that if you are able to resolve those challenges that you have. So from an infrastructure perspective, that is why we put so much emphasis in terms of why do we want to actually re-rack and do this, because the numbers actually speaks for itself. I wouldn't want to spend so much time doing the same thing and still get the same result. For example, if I'm going to spend 8 days or 8 days of reset just to get it. I don't think I'm able to scale it up the way I have it, because everybody knows that, you know, this is a hobby, and if you want to scale it up, you probably will need to have time to do it. And from a time perspective, you will then need to look back and trace back where is the time being lost. The time being lost is mostly resets and tank filling up the tank or discharging of the tank. Discharging of the tank is simpler because if, let's say, you use a bigger hose to drain the water, it will be much faster. So that is not an critical issue to be resolved. So that is easily resolved, either manual or automatic by pump. However, it's the inflow that is actually limiting a lot of breeders out there. And the concept that has been taught or being passed down is that, you know, you use this 1/4 inch pipe, it's easy to use, it's easy to make. Just use the 1/4 inch pipe and let it flow down slowly so that you don't have any issues with, you know, having a float valve and things like that. However, but that will limit you in expanding or scaling up in terms of your stream setup. If, let's say, you're going to go up to 150 tank, 200 tanks, you are not able to still use the same amount of time to actually achieve the number of tanks that you actually want. Like, for example, if you only have, you know, 2 hours in a week or 3 hours in a week, that's all the time you have, you will not be able to scale up to 150 tanks with the given amount of time. So I think that was the challenge that I set myself up, and that is where we, you know, kind of innovate and understand what would be much better in terms of efficiency. And this will give, I think this video will probably give you some idea on if you're going to scale up, what you're going to do next, right? So regardless whether it's 12 tanks, 50 tanks, or 150 tanks, if you are able to scale it up or prepare yourself to scale it up, understand the concept, then definitely, let's say you have a 12 tanks, then you'll be able to change water, reset tanks in under 10 minutes, because it will be very, very quick. And then you can do other things, like, for example, selecting and things like that, because in terms of the daily maintenance of the stream tank, I think most of the time being taken is through water changes, feeding, you know, selecting. So you will not have sufficient time to spare to actually do resets of tank. So that's the reason why the emphasis of water inflow, the efficiency of the different steps of resetting is being taken into account. That will actually help to drive your enjoyment in the hobby in the long run. So for those who enjoy this video, please remember to give a thumbs up, and for those who are new to this video, please remember to subscribe to this channel. So until next time, peace out.